Hi, this is Derek Stewart, and welcome to the DC Stewart Show podcast, featuring my co-host Isaiah as well as my co-host Najee. We're here doing another live stream today. Want to make sure that you subscribe. Hit that like button because we're here for you. The algorithm is good to us when you hit that like button and you subscribe. So we will constantly reinforce that hit that like button. So, Isaiah, what is really going on with you so far right now with all of your University of Miami gear on?
Well, it's beginning to be spring practice. We're gonna see what we're gonna embark upon for the 25 season. We got our new quarterback coming in town, and he came in here about a month and a half ago. He had a couple misfortune with people stealing his cars out the yard, but now we got the opportunity to see what he's working with. He's been playing with the receivers. He's been running with the guys and throwing the ball to the backs and we just gonna plug him into our system of playing here at the U. Man, I just feel so confident that Georgia made a mistake letting this guy leave because we're gonna get him in our system, and I think we're gonna have a beautiful, successful season this year. So that's what I'm cheering for. I got the U gear on, and I'm a 305 man, and I'm always gonna rock with the Canes and the Heat, Marlins, and Inter Miami, and Panthers, all of them. So as the season progresses, you will see me wearing more stuff like this here. And I'm gonna be into it, man. I'm that type of guy who love my South Florida team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I pull for the Miami Heat, the Miami Dolphins, Miami Marlins. I'm just getting into hockey, so I'll have to look at the Panthers, but we do have the LA Kings out here, so I'm going to share both. I'm going to share 305.
Okay. We got room.
Do you have room for both for 310 and 305?
I don't mind anytime we got a bandwagon grouping, we'll let you on board.
There you go.
Come on.
There you go. Listen, since you mentioned 305, I'm sending a special shout out to Nino Brown 305. Nino Brown has got it going on based out of Miami, Florida. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Nino, if you get a chance to see this, come holler at us over here, man. We'd like to talk to you and talk some sports and stuff like that. Najee, tell me about what's happening.
Dang good, man. Just trying to enjoy life, bro.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to enjoy life too. And, I got my partner here, Isaiah, and he's just constantly riding me, man. He ride me hard. I think some of it's undeserved. So I have to digress a little bit, if you know what I mean, right?
No, I got you, man.
But I'm gonna hold you to this, Isaiah. I'm gonna hold you to this workout program that you've been talking about, and we'll talk about that a little later on into this show.
Yeah.
But I got beef with you, man. I'm just telling you, I got beef with you 110% because I'm not hearing anything specific in detail about this workout program going.
Oh, don't worry about that. Listen, by next week, I'm gonna have video and audio, and I'm gonna give you a pen and paper to see how the progress is going, even down to every segment of the workout. I'm gonna have when I do the squats. I'm gonna show you how far to go down and come back up and hold it. And, and the resist, you don't even need the weight. You can do it with your body weight, and it'll be just as good. I'm gonna show you how I get on an elliptical. I'm gonna show you how to do some 40-yard sprints. 3/4 sprints. All of that makes a great part of the workout. And so I'm doing the push-ups from the military style type push-up, doing the sit-ups where you do a half crunch, and once you go halfway down, you twist your body all the way to the right, twist your body here to the left. 10 times when you do that, and bro, the burn you would get from that. I'm saying you're gonna do 30 like sit-ups, and as you go down with the 30th one, you will go 10 right or left, bam, 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 10, and you talking about the burn it give you in your lower part of your abdomen. Listen, results are coming because you can feel the effect of it afterwards. And anytime you feel like a thing of this sensation of fatigue, severe fatigue after you do that, that's when you really can tell that that workout is working. So this is what I'm doing, and it's good, man. I mean, I hope everybody jump on board with me, and you will see the transition of your body changing. And all you have to do is do that at least 4 times a week, and you will see the results in the first week. So,
Cool.
yeah,
You gotta hit us up on that diet too, man. See,
yeah, the
see
diet.
right here, I got this right here. This is goodness right here. This is a mixture of vegetables, fruits, little sprinkle of protein in it. It don't get no better than this, brother man. It don't get no.
It looked like a glass of.
Got some Hennessy in it?
Oh,
Got some Hennessy in it?
Nah, I don't mess with no Hennessy in my mouth. It's funny you mentioned that, Najee, because I did do that one time. I made one of these drinks and I dropped some vodka in it, and it was pretty tasty. To tell you the truth.
you're always trying to experiment with something.
Well, I'm gonna just say we got two drinkers as part of this trio, but I ain't gonna mention the one that don't drink. So I'm just leave it at that. I mean, we got guys that in our little crew that they don't drink nothing. They don't drink no alcohol, right?
See, yeah, I drink a Pepsi in a minute, so I'll let you.
So Najee, he just gave himself away.
Oh.
It ain't no look, man. Ain't no big deal.
Hey, ain't no big deal.
Ain't no big deal. Yeah, I ain't gonna get broke in either.
Hey, let's get this party started. Let's get it started here. Let's talk about wrestling, professional wrestling. It's been around for a long time, and we haven't really spent a lot of time devoting time to professional wrestling. One of the things I wanted to bring up is when I was a child, I got really heavily into professional wrestling while I was growing up in the Miami area in South Florida. They used to show NWA wrestling in Miami. So basically, NWA was a National Wrestling Association South, based, south of Orlando, because I think they had a north back then too. And the gentleman who actually promoted it and was one of the main announcers, name was Gordon Soley. Do you remember Gordon Soley?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Gordon Soley, he ran a really tight ship. He ran a really good ship, and he had a really nice stable of wrestlers that was wrestling during that time. To mention a few, I'm gonna go with one of my most favorite wrestlers is Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was in a class all by himself. Class personified. The guy had the gift of gab. The guy, he could literally light up a room by just coming in talking, and his knowledge of just everyday life and street life and things of that sort. Dusty Rhodes was born to do this. So he's one of the few wrestlers that I do mention, that we will talk about, that who is the greatest wrestlers of all time. I want to spend some time to go over a list of names to find out who's the greatest wrestler of all time. I know you guys have your selections. I have mine. We'll work on like the top 5, and we'll go between wrestling associations like WWE, which used to be called WWF, but now it's called WWE, because what happened at that time is the WWF was the World Wrestling Federation, and it was started by McMahon's father, and McMahon Jr. took it over, and he was able to parlay that into something extremely successful, in my opinion. But what happened was, during some of the matches, it got so violent, at least the perception got so violent at the time, law enforcement was talking about getting involved in some of the matches. The wrestlers going outside of the ring, hitting each other over the head with chairs or anything that they could get their hands on, a baseball bat, whatever they had, table, throwing guys over tables. So they considered that somewhat as a step over entertainment. Should I say, they didn't think it should be called WWF. So Jim McMahon in turn turned around and called it WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. Does that make sense to you guys? So I'm going to just say this. Isaiah, what do you think about the history of wrestling and where it come from, where it started, and to where it is now? Because it looks like the WWE is still top dog in the wrestling.
Well, I always thought that professional wrestling was entertainment because on a collegiate level, you don't have that type of even the way they judge the wrestling. They take a break throughout. They get up and they have on a gear protect them. Professional wrestling don't have any of that because it's all phony. I mean, it's fun to watch it, but it's phony because you got on both sides, those guys actually are friends. When you're doing the collegiate level, they hate each other because you're going in there and trying to win a match. And, that guy across that mat is your enemy. So you're going to go in there and try to take him out and pin him as fast as you can. Shoot, them guys who in professional wrestling, they would pin each other and go pop balls afterwards, man, because it's all a game and it's just entertainment for the general public to come out and enjoy. It's a beautiful thing to go out there on a Friday night over the weekend and enjoy it with your family because it gives you something to do. It gives you, an opportunity to meet these guys and interact with them because, a lot of them will stay around. You can shake their hand on the way to the ring and all that type of stuff. But it's pure fun for people, man. It's a huge moneymaker for the ones who's involved with it. So I just always looked at it as pure entertainment because, like you mentioned with Dusty Rhodes, man, he had so much charisma. He was such charismatic. He had the curly hair and he had that big old fat stomach. But boy, when he came in there, he always had this elbow pad on because that was his biggest weapon.
Oh, that was the bionic elbow. That was a bionic elbow right there. And you know what? To add to what you're saying about Dusty Rhodes, he was very athletic. He looked out of shape, but the guy was super athletic because I saw him up close and personal at multiple matches over at the Hollywood Sportatorium, which is no longer there. They used to have the Dade County Youth Fair over there. And the Hollywood Sportatorium sat off adjacent to where they used to do the Dade County Youth Fair over in Miami.
Yeah, those were some precious moments. They used to have it down at the convention center in Miami Beach as well.
I saw it at the convention center also. Yeah, I saw a couple of matches there at the convention center. And to coattail on what you said about families and people going out to enjoy it, they tended to go out to let off some steam, especially blue collar workers. I mean, if you had a blue collar job and you hated your boss or you hated your coworkers and you wanted to lay hands on them, put them things on them, you went to watch wrestling on Friday, Saturday night, right? So you could take off that steam and just channel that energy into the wrestlers or what they were doing to each other. Because at the matches, they used to have this one old black dude, man. He would sit ringside and he always had like a white suit or an orange suit or a yellow suit. And the promoters paid him to try to antagonize some of the wrestlers because the wrestlers would be pointing, telling him to come on into the ring.
The game is all orchestrated and premeditated for him to do that and entertain people and get people up in arms about what was going on. And it was just freaking genius the way they did it back then because most people were sold on it. They were sold on it, man. And me and my brothers, we watched it closely because our oldest brother was a wrestler. So my dad taught him how to wrestle. So we knew the severity of it if you put somebody in a sleeper hold or the headlock or either do some damage to you because if you do that for real, you can kill somebody. If you jump in the sleeper hold and you hold them for a certain amount of time, guess what? You're going to have a funeral coming next week.
Is that right?
That's why we all caught on that professional wrestling was not real. The guys was out entertaining each other and having a good time. And, when you watch it closely, you can see some of those punches, they don't hit them. They step on the canvas and throw a punch and you think you get swear. Exactly. A bunch of noise.
Exactly.
It was just a good thing to be out there and enjoy a family function. That's all.
So Najee, did it fool you when you were watching wrestling? Were you fooled? Because I was fooled.
Of course.
I thought it was real. I thought they were beating each other up. Yeah. Real.
Especially when it comes to when they get hit with a chair and then let's say no blood just pop up. I'm like, oh yeah, that gotta be real. My dad used to tell me, oh, it's phony. I said, how is it phony? He's bleeding. I'm confused.
Well, you know what they used to do? They used to cut themselves with razor.
Yeah, they used to cut themselves. Exactly. Especially if they had like the sleeves on their wrist. So what they do is they hide the blade there. So when they get popped, boom, that's they for some reason you always see them just touch their head. That's when they get a slight cut, and that's when you draw
the blood start oozing out because Dusty Rhodes had so much scar tissue.
Since their blood is already rushing through their body by the time you cut yourself. That's why the blood is rushing.
Exactly, and with Dusty Rhodes, when I first laid eyes on him in person, I mean, he had so much scar tissue up here where he had cut himself so many times. He wasn't the only one. King Curtis was like that. They had a wrestler back at that time called King Curtis. A lot of them had scar tissue all over their forehead and places on their faces and stuff where they cut themselves because they had to make it look very realistic, I would think, to sell it to the public, to keep the public coming back and to keep the public spending money on, booze to go in there and watch that kind of thing, and it was a controlled way of violence, but it was premeditatedly staged. It was premeditatedly set up to be that way. And they practiced at the Bruno San Martino Academy of Wrestling, which Bruno San Martino was a wrestler back in the early times of wrestling. And he created this academy where you could go if you wanted to become a wrestler, and they would teach you how to wrestle. They would teach you all of the moves, how to run into the rope, bounce off the ropes, take a hook, because they used to clothes hanger each other and things of that sort. So when I learned about that, a lot of the older wrestlers, like Dusty, actually got started that way because he was looking for his way in life. He was just looking for something, and he found it because he was born to do it. I think personally. So once he got involved and started doing it, and he joined the National Wrestling Alliance in South Florida, it was on then. It was just him and Harley Race constantly going back and forth. Harley Race was the champion at the time. And Harley Race, it was nearly impossible to beat the guy. I've seen so many wrestlers wrestle him. They would have him pinned down, and you would see the ref just take that hand, that one hand, he took that hand, and he just would not tap him out. It just wouldn't tap him out. So the promoters make the decisions on who they want to be champion based on, public popularity, who's the most popular wrestler. And Dusty Rhodes actually captured the belt at one point. And that's just amazing that he was able to wrestle so long and leave that legacy behind. Because if you think about him, his son, Cody Rhodes, and he's a splitting image of Dusty Rhodes to me. I mean, Cody has got, but the difference between I find with Cody and Dusty was more of a casual dressing guy. Cody wears suits. Cody got some tailored suits. He be dressed down.
He had to get out from under his dad's wing, though.
Exactly.
He was trying to make his own mark, but he couldn't do it. He didn't have the talent and skill level like Dusty Rhodes had. Dusty Rhodes had so much charisma, man, and he had this way of talking, and he would drag his voice and stuff like that, and he just sound tough when he spoke. But his son could never have that niche like Dusty Rhodes, man. He was out there, he just couldn't do it, man. It was nice to see.
Exactly. So Najee, who's your favorite wrestler?
So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, The Rock. And The Rock deserves to be very popular, in my opinion, because where his journey to becoming champion to me was very similar to Dusty Rhodes. He was actually, his daddy's name was Rocky Johnson. I don't know whether a lot of people realized that his daddy was Rocky Johnson out of Canada.
Yeah.
And they call him the
And his grandfather.
Right. So The Rock actually played at University of Miami, and I think he played right behind Warren Sapp when Warren Sapp was playing at Miami. He was, I mean,
He did.
he played, and actually Rocky Johnson came to a few games. Watch when the U was still playing in the Orange Bowl. He would be on the sideline watching his son. Well, The Rock grew up in Connecticut. He grew up in the Northeast. He didn't grow up in the South. He didn't grow up out west. So what happened was, when he was playing football up there, I guess he just chose to pick Miami, and the rest is history. Once he picked Miami, he became he wasn't a household name, but he was still well known because his father was a wrestler at the time. He didn't quite make it in the NFL, but it looks like he was able to parlay what he did into becoming The Rock. And it wasn't easy for him at first when he got started out. It wasn't easy at all. I mean, he tried several different alter egos, and he finally worked his way around that one where it was The Rock with the eyebrow going up. And I want to know what's cooking, right? I don't know his exact quotes, but he was actually
The Rock is cooking.
right.
Pepperoni.
workout regimen.
His body was a whole lot more strong. Yeah.
And he was a little plump. I mean, when he played football, he was a little. Even his face was plump.
Yeah.
He wasn't as lean and yoked out like he was when he started wrestling.
Right. It could have been his diet. He probably was eating differently.
Yeah, he was. He was. And the most impressive thing about him is how he's been able to keep his body in that type of condition that he started out with when he actually became The Rock to where he is now. Because to me, he looks better as a middle-aged man now than to me, even back then, because I mean the guy stays in tip-top condition, he keeps his body in great shape, and he's a A-list movie star now. I mean, in Hollywood, and whatever he wants to do, he can do. He has his own football league going head to head with the NFL, which is really not head to head because the NFL is the NFL. They're going to always be the NFL. But just to say that The Rock, his life kicked off in a manner where he found his niche. And Isaiah always talks to me about this finding your niche. How do you find your niche? What journey do you need to take to find your niche? I mean, and the niche is something that you got to figure out. Nobody else can figure that out for you. The opportunity will come, but you might not even recognize that opportunity.
Recognize it.
Exactly. That opportunity might be punching you in the face or slapping you in the face and hitting you, and you just can't see it. But someone else comes along and say, you know what? This is for you. You might be the person that was put here to do this. And that goes for any sport. That goes for anything in life that you want to do. Am I right, Isaiah? You're constantly on me about niche. And sometimes people find their niche early in life. They find their niches when they're teenagers. They find their niches when they're children. Child actor, child celebrity. Some people find their niche in the early parts of their life, because I look at life as 3 phases. You have your first phase where you end up as being born as a child on into early adulthood. Then you go through that second phase, which is come after the 30s, in my opinion. And then you come to the third phase where you're moving into your late 40s, 50s, and 60s. So a lot of people like me just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do at the time. Throughout my whole life, early 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s. But you know what? Isaiah helped me find my niche. And I much appreciate it. I owe him my life for this, because Isaiah put me right here talking to you, the viewer, and my 2 co-hosts here. Isaiah is the reason I'm here doing this, and this is my niche. I'm here to do this, and this is what we're gonna follow through with, because this is not something I'm gonna turn and run from, because throughout my life I've had possibly other opportunities that I've turned away and ran away. So getting back on wrestling, what do you guys think about Ric Flair? Was he a legend in his own right? I mean, as well. Tell me what you think about Ric Flair.
Well, Ric Flair is part of that, thing where you were talking about earlier when you got that collective of this talent at that time in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
With the Dusty Rhodes and the hosts of wrestling at the time. Ric Flair was a huge part of that because he knew how to get the crowd going. He knew how to bring in partners on his side, and he knew he had charisma, and he just knew how to get people entertained. When you came to see him, you felt like that hard days or that hard week worth of work was really relevant for you to come in there and pay whatever it costs to see him.
Right.
You're going to be happy you came still, because when you left there, man, you were so thrilled. And people who had just got there and never watched wrestling, after they seen that, they was kind of hooked to it. And that's what the kind of effect Ric Flair had on that sport with wrestling.
So what about you, Najee? What do you think about Ric Flair?
Now, me personally, I don't know too much on him, but he was part of it with we had Ric Flair, you had Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the tearing the shirts thing. Like, they was real good with their gimmick and to attract people to it. That I don't think they were the most talented people out there when it comes to how you wrestle, because a lot of stuff that was basic. Like, look at Hollywood Hulk Hogan finisher move. It was the slowest leg drop of life. That was his finish move. And then these slow punches. He's supposed to be so dominant. And this is what I mean. Now, if you want to go like pure talent, like me, and I didn't even like him, but Kurt Angle was really up there. Kurt Angle was he was not only he was a professional wrestler, but he actually wrestled for the country, and he did all types. He actually was going through that his whole life. Like when it
Right.
comes to suplexes and all types of submissions, he was like the most talented wrestler out there when it comes to all that. Him, Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was pretty good too.
I know Chris
You know
Benoit.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was really good. Now, if you want to just talk about with flair and just to attract the crowd, then yeah, Ric Flair was really up there.
I agree with you. And the one thing that Ric Flair that made him stick out to me was his dress. The way he dressed.
Yeah.
Oh, the dude used to have tailored suits. He had his robes was just off the chart. I mean, his wrestling robes. He had some of the best looking wrestling robes I have ever seen at the time. You know, because he would come out and he was the Nature Boy. Nature Boy Ric Flair. That's what it was about. Ric Flair. I mean, showing all that flair and just being able to be that arrogance and money and just the dude had it going on. He had the perfect niche as far as his ego went and his ability to be able to talk, and because he was a lot like Dusty Rhodes, he'd come up to the mic and he just let it all out. He let it all hang out, and that's what you can appreciate about Rick. So that pretty much wraps up this particular live stream for us, and we're happy to be here, and we thank you, the viewer, for joining us, and we would like for you to continue to join us on our future live streams, because our future live streams is going to be coming, and we're going to be constantly doing them. We'll be talking about different topics, and we would like everybody's input. Chime in, let us know what's going on. Isaiah, you got anything to close us out with?
Well, I really, respect the people who take the time to listen to what we're offering, man. And it's a beautiful thing because a lot of folks are jumping on board. They're doing exactly what I've been urging them to do: is tell their friends and their family and their coworkers to jump on board because we got beautiful content and we're going to keep it that way. So jump on board. We got all the stuff ready for you for entertainment. So this is not only like wrestling, but it's entertainment. So
It's entertainment.
that's
Exactly. How about you?
Just like what Isaiah said, we come here for pure entertainment. We're gonna try to hit you with as many factual facts that we can give you, and then we're also here in the positive note, not to bring anybody down, not to say anything negative or to crap on anybody's accomplishments.
Awesome. Awesome. So we'll close this thing out. Thank you for joining the DC Stewart Show podcast featuring Isaiah and my co-host Najee as well. And we'll do this thing again soon. Please subscribe, hit that like button. Let us know what you think. We're going to try to answer as many, um, you know, responses or messages, comments, the whole 9 yards. We've hit 85,000 viewers, so we're moving. So, like Isaiah say, we're on the move. We're coming. We coming. So just let that be known. All right. So take it easy. Take care of the people around you, and make sure that you exert peace, love, and happiness. All right. Take it easy.